Sister Cities really emerged out of a continuing effort to upgrade Logan Circle. And what we looked at there was a place that's in front of the cathedral that was largely forgotten. If you ask people, where's Sister Cities Park, they would scratch their head. They didn't know it was called Sister Cities Park.
It's pretty clearly a stopping point in a major pedestrian passageway along the Parkway to the city from the neighborhoods to the north.
The Ben Franklin Parkway is the city's premier boulevard, lined by the flags of the world, and it's also highlighting our city's special relationship with 10 international cities. This plaza was built 36 years ago in 1976 by the Order of the Sons of Italy in America and the Federation of Jewish Agencies of Greater Philadelphia to mark our first sister city relationships with Florence and Tel Aviv. The Sister Cities program, of course, again run by the International Visitor Center, builds peace, mutual understanding, and economic ties through official city-to-city relationships. This new plaza honors all 10 of Philadelphia's sister cities, and they are Florence, Italy; Tel Aviv, Israel; Turin, Poland; Tianjin, China; Incheon, Korea; Douala, Cameroon; Nishi, Novgorod in Russia; Kobe, Japan; Aix-en-Provence, France; Abruzzo, Italy.
Working with our design team here, with Brian Haynes and with Digsaw, they came up with a really wonderful mixed-use design for the park. So we've created a fountain in the park that really commemorates Sister Cities, and it's a fountain where each water jet represents the different cities. Created a wonderful children's environmental playground, if you will, a small environmental area with mountain streams that young children can play in. And the great part of this is the streams flow down into a boat pond where young children will be able to have the experience of just playing in water. But because this is a project we're doing in partnership with the Academy of Natural Sciences, there will also be educational programs here about environment, about science. And then the very centerpiece of this will be a cafe, which will have great food in it, but also a branch of the Independence Visitor Center.
We've had a really great team to work with. We started on the project kind of developing a concept and an early schematic design. As the design started to take shape, we were able to pull together a team that met the needs of the project. And for us, this was a project that Paul took some risks on. I feel like gave us a chance as young designers to explore new ideas and bring something unique to the Parkway and to the city in general. In turn, we were able to pull Digsaw in as an architect for the cafe.
The building grew very directly out of a landscape idea, and in particular an idea that had to do with the kind of Wissahickon landscape and the natural landscape in Fairmount Park. And so there's kind of the form of the building is kind of directly related to kind of natural rock croppings and the materials that you'd find in that landscape. And obviously we're sort of conscious of the backdrop of the cathedral and of the kind of scale beyond it. So it's seen as a transition between those 2 points. And so as such, it was conceived as a highly sustainable building, and that includes the mechanical systems, which are geothermal wells. And then, of course, there's the green roof, and the landscape is intended to kind of minimize the stormwater runoff. And then, generally speaking, the building's meant to feel very much like a park pavilion, so highly daylit, transparent, and all those things that we think contribute directly to sustainable design practices, but also the feel of the kind of connectivity with the landscape is kind of an important part of our concept of sustainability.
Just the phasing of having 5 contractors working in a 1-acre area, and we had to protect existing trees which are historic and other things within the park that had to be maintained was challenging. Another challenging part of it is this is on a archaeological grave site.
Not unlike the rest of the squares in Philadelphia, this too has a burial ground on the property. This is not news. It's on many signs in the area. However, before we started this process, we did this literature research, found out that yes, truly, that there also is the potential for a burial place in Logan Square. But as part of that, since there was the potential for it, we did actually work with CHRS, an archaeology firm, and they actually came out here and did some test digs in some of the areas that we were going to be disturbing on the site.
We found in this area here, we found the majority of the graves of these, and they were all unmarked. We have about 61 of them altogether. They all date to late 1700s, maybe very early 1800s. I was here throughout the construction phases until they actually built everything, monitoring every place that they dug, and we didn't find any more graves.
This location offers us an opportunity to tap into visitors that may only be experiencing the west side of Broad Street, or may only choose to discover the Parkway on their first trip and eventually make it to 6th Street. So we are going to target folks very specific that are interested in the attractions here on the Parkway.
You can come here and get a sandwich made with all the ingredients from the Italian market. You can come here, and if you get a bacon, egg, cheese sandwich, the bacon was grown, 100 miles away and produced 100 miles away. The cheese was produced, sometimes in Philadelphia. The honey we use, some of the bees are on the roof of one of our other buildings. So everything is as local as we can possibly make it, and as healthy and natural as you can possibly get it. So it's still comfort food, easy, accessible food, just made with very high quality local ingredients.
So people will be able to come to this park if they're going to the cathedral, they are getting married there. It's a great place for wedding photos right at Sister Cities Fountain, right in front of the cathedral. With 20,000 children being born to Center City parents in the last decade, and with all the families who bring young children to the Parkway, we really wanted to create an amenity here for families with children. And so to create the boat pond, the environmental education center, and frankly a cafe that has kid-friendly food in it as well. So this is all part of a strategy to reinforce the great activities in cultural institutions, but to create a first-class public environment with activities for people of all ages.